Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something incredibly cool to take a look at. This is something that I've been greatly looking forward to. We have the Creature Preacher Planet of Dinosaurs Tyrannosaurus Rex here, finally to take a look at. And you can see we have two different versions. We have a smaller version and we have a larger version. We also have a painted version and an unpainted version. So as you can see, just like with his Crater Lake Monster, there are options to this release. You can see that you can get it painted, unpainted, or again, different sizes. And of course, he'll just list these randomly on his Etsy shop. So it's always important to make sure you pay attention to his Instagram account and follow him on there so you know when he's listing and what he's listing. But he also sent over some other really cool stuff. With this, you can see here we have an incredibly cool Planet of Dinosaurs image here that obviously states the stars at night are always big and bright here in the heart of Planet of Dinosaurs. How cool is that? That is absolutely awesome. It's a postcard, as you can see here, but definitely really neat. And then he also sent over these two, and you can see two different sizes yet again of these really cool kind of stylized yet very adorable Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex. And on top of that, we also have this that says this is the Convergent King. And you can again see an image of the actual figure right here, as well as a really cool kind of like a mountain area there behind a nice mountain range. So some really awesome stuff included with this set of figures. But if we actually move these guys out of the way a little bit right here, you'll see that we also have another model that he has sent over here. We have a Cryptocolitis, and this is actually based on the Godzilla the Animated Series version. So I actually had no idea he was including this with the Tyrannosaurs here, so I was actually really psyched when I had pulled this out of the box and had taken a look at the fact that it was included, because it was something that I was again really surprised by, but also something that I definitely do not have at all in my collection would be any type of model from the Godzilla the Animated Series. So definitely some really cool stuff, as you can see here. And finally, I have the Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex here in my hands. Been waiting a long time. Ever since that initial release of the Crater Lake Monster, I've just been dying to get my hands on his Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex, but also, not to mention, I've just been waiting years of my life to get a Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex as well. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at all of this right now. So starting with the T-Rex, the painted version, you can see one thing straight away that you might take note of is the fact that the Rex is a greenish color, and that's because this is based off of, coloration-wise, it's based off of the poster version. Also, the pose is, kind of reminiscent of the poster version, and I think that's where most of his inspiration came from for this particular version. He has mentioned that he might be reworking the model in the future to kind of give us some different versions of it, which I'll be very excited to see. But this one here, again, is very reminiscent pretty much all over as far as that poster version goes. You can see that we've got a really nice head sculpt. The overall general appearance to the head sculpt definitely looks like the Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex. You've got the nostrils up there. You can also see that we have that mouth opened, again, just like you see on the poster. You've got a nice black eye with a beautiful gloss coat over top, and you can see that we have some nice variations of greens here on the face of the Rex, with some nice darker greens as well as some nice kind of lighter green that has been dry brushed over the Rex. You've also got some more of that down here. Again, the mouth is sculpted in an open position. You can see that the tongue is included on the inside of the mouth. We have a really cool coloration on the inside of the mouth with kind of like a nice darkish tone, but he's also added in some like purplish, like almost metallic colors in there, which is really cool. You can see the inside of the mouth on the upper side as well. Just sports some really cool, really nice detail, and there's also a gloss coat on the inside of the mouth to make that shine quite realistically. The teeth are all sculpted pretty nicely. A few of the teeth are kind of connected together, but the majority of them seem to be sculpted individually, and they're all painted with kind of like a mixture of like a yellow and a brownish tone, so there are some nice elements of realism, and the film itself kind of has like that gritty feel to it, so I also feel like that helps to capture the gritty feel of the film in the figure. Looking up here at the top of the head, again, you can see more of those scales moving along the back of the head. The Rex kind of has almost like an armored type of a look to it, and you can see that as you move down the back of the neck and then leading down into the back itself. You've also got some nice skin wrinkles and skin folds here in the neck region moving down, also down here in the lower part of the jaw leading down into the throat. You can see more skin wrinkles, and you can also pick up on some other variations of color picking up there, almost like some light shades of browns and stuff, and you can see more really nice detailing here, again moving down from the throat into the chest and then down into the underside of the dinosaur. You can see an entirely different appearance as far as the way the skin texture looks, kind of like a lot of creasing and wrinkling and stuff as you move down here along the underside of our T-Rex, which looks really cool. And then again, leading down here into the side of the Rex, you can pick up on some more color variation, as again we have darker greens, lighter greens, as well as variations of like tans and stuff. And you can again see those much larger scales that have been really nicely dry brushed with that lighter green. Some more nice dry brushing here of those large scales. The entire dinosaur has almost like an osteoderm like scaling to it all over its body, and you can see that throughout this figure. You can see some nice muscle definition moving down into the thigh, down into the calf, as well as the kneecap present in the front of the leg. And then again, as we move down, we've got a pretty nice looking foot sculpt here with some nicely painted nails. They have like a very dark gray paint to them, and again sport that really cool vintage almost claymation type of a look like the T-Rex has in the film. You can also see the arms, which I completely glanced over, but the arms also has some variations of greens as well as like some variations of tans and then black nails. And then leading down here into the tail, you can again see more of that skin texture. And as we move down here, we transition from those kind of large scales to more of like very, very different looking skin texture. I can't exactly put my finger on how to explain the way that the tail looks skin texture wise, but you can clearly see for yourself how it looks. It's very, very unique. And again, the tail leads down and then up in a position that helps to balance the Rex out when it's standing there. And of course, the Rex from the film has that old school look with the tail dragging, so that works really quite nicely. And you can see again that it looks pretty much the same over here. Of course, very consistent sculpt, consistent paint and everything throughout. And then again, we have the much larger version, which is unpainted, and I fully intend on giving it that classic film version paint job with the grays. But you can again see that all of the detail looks pretty much the same as what we had just seen on the other one, but of course in a much larger size. I'll be really interested to paint this one up and see how nice I can make it look, but it's definitely really cool to have different sizes like he creates, different variations of his figures, and especially when they're as cool as his figures are. Like that head sculpt looks pretty much spot on as far as what the Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex looks like. But again, definitely a really, really cool figure. Kind of give you just a brief idea of what the detailing looks like here on the unpainted version. But always something to keep in mind. If you're a fan of painting your own models, your own figures, this is definitely a great way to go. So you can grab one of the unpainted ones, paint it up yourself. But if you'd like to have the paintwork done for you, you can again, of course, have Creature Preacher paint it up for you and, you know, snag yourself one of the already painted versions. But definitely cannot wait to start painting this guy. I also have to paint up my Creator Lake monster. I just have been so flooded with work and then trying to keep videos flowing here on the channel. I just haven't had much time to paint anything lately, but hopefully soon I'll start to have a little bit more downtime where I'll have some time to start painting some stuff. And then we've got our Cryptocolitis, and look at how cool this looks. He's got such a really, really cool looking sculpt to this, and it's been a little while since I had seen this guy from the Godzilla the Animated Series, but it's pretty reminiscent to what I can remember it looking like, especially when it comes to having kind of like these flippers out here on the side and then the arms sticking out of the front of the body. This is actually a real species, like there really was a Cryptocolitis, but it didn't look like this. Obviously the version from Godzilla the Animated Series was very different from what the actual version would have looked like, but he's got a lot of really cool tones of color included in this one with some nice variations of lighter and darker purples to it, as well as kind of like a metallic look over top of it, which gives it kind of like that genuine wet look, and that's exactly where you find this creature in the show. And of course you would, if it were the real version, it would be in the ocean. And you can see again, we have that same look for this one, again with that kind of metallic type of a color. It almost gives it that wet look to it. And you can also see the teeth are sculpted out really quite nicely, also painted. Very, very unique looking creature. And the eyes as well are painted. You can see they look kind of creepy as well with the way that he's painted the eyes out. Kind of have like a really weird metallic shine to the eyes as well. So definitely an awesome figure to be included here. And he actually, you can also see the underside sports a really nice light tone of color to it, kind of like some really light blues, but also varying tones of blues you can see here throughout. So really, really cool. And this is another model that he has been selling on his Etsy shop as well. So if you are interested in grabbing yourself one of these really cool Cryptocolitis figures, definitely check out his Etsy shop. I was just checking it out the other day, and he did have one of these, or at least I think there was one, maybe more of them up for sale, so something you could definitely pick up if you were interested. But let's go ahead and check out the sizes of all of these. So as far as a size goes for our Cryptocolitis, you are looking at about the 6-inch range, or around 15 centimeters. And then for a height, about 2 3/4 inches, or 7 centimeters. And then for our larger version of the T-Rex, you are looking at about 12 inches, or about 30.5 centimeters. And then for a height, just shy of about 8.5 inches, or around 21.5 centimeters. And then for the smaller version of the T-Rex, lengthwise, you are looking at about a little bit over 9 1/4 inches, or around 23.5, closing in at 24 centimeters. Or height-wise, about 6.5 inches, or about 16.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our really cool Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex, as well as our Cryptocolitis figure down here. And you can definitely see again how each one sizes. Obviously the larger version of the T-Rex is really quite large. You can definitely see it completely towers over Mr. Papo T-Rex right there. The smaller version is pretty much the same height as the Papo T-Rex, but a little bit smaller, maybe. No, I was going to say a little bit smaller body mass wise, but looking at the two, they actually look like they're really, really similar in size. So I would say that they're probably about the same size, roughly. The Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex might be slightly smaller, and I mean really slightly. And then obviously the Cryptocolitis is much smaller than everybody else, but definitely is still a really cool figure. And hopefully these figures all here next to each other will help to give you a pretty good idea here of the size. And then for a few more random comparisons, we've got a Mattel Velociraptor, a Mattel Dilophosaurus, as well as the Kenner Young Rex here, standing in to give you another idea here of the size. Again, there's not really any other Planet of Dinosaurs figures out there like at all, so... And there's also no other Cryptocolitis figures out there that I know of, so it's really hard to kind of come up with figures that might help to give you guys an idea of this size. So hopefully these here will, again, help to give you a pretty good idea of the size. But for one final comparison, for anyone that had purchased the Crater Lake Monster from Creature Preacher, then you can see that all of these figures here are all together again. The Crater Lake Monster, as well as the Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex, as well as our Cryptocolitis. Again, just awesomeness all around here from Creature Preacher. So this brand new Creature Preacher Planet of Dinosaurs figure is absolutely awesome, as is the Cryptocolitis. Really cool figures all around, and I'm really psyched to actually have a few different models now from Creature Preacher, as I was completely in love with his Crater Lake Monster, now having the Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex, which is something I've been wanting for years from somebody, as well as a complete surprise when it comes to this Cryptocolitis that he was kind enough to send over. Again, just awesome, awesome stuff. The fact that he continues to create such obscure models of different, film type creatures and dinosaurs and stuff, like how cool is that? It doesn't get any better than that, because there aren't really anybody else doing that. Like, most people wouldn't bother with or take the chance on something like a Crater Lake Monster or a Planet of Dinosaurs T-Rex or even the Cryptocolitis again, but Creature Preacher absolutely does, and not only does he do that, he does a great job of doing that, and you can really see that he puts a lot of love into his models as well as a lot of time, and on top of that, he takes a lot of aspects of the, dinosaurs and creatures he sees from the films and applies them to his models, but also kind of applies his own little twist and spin on them, and I really, really like that. And specifically with this one, I love the fact that he's kind of delivering that more of like a poster type version of the T-Rex rather than the grayish version that we see in the film. So something that I just feel like is really cool, and I love the fact that I now have the unpainted version here, because I'm definitely going to be giving that the screen type version paint job with the grayish tone. But on top of that, I love the fact that he also creates different sizes. So if you really want one and you don't have that much room, you can get a smaller size. If you love it and you want a bigger one, you can get the bigger size. So just, again, really cool on his part to kind of cover all of his bases as far as his release goes. And then you also have the Cryptocolitis, which is really cool. Again, something that I didn't ever think anybody would make a model of that, because it's just so incredibly obscure, and not everybody was the biggest fan of Godzilla the animated series, the Americanized Godzilla animated series, but I thought it was really cool. My son absolutely loved that show, so he's going to absolutely love the fact that I have a model of this, and he did a great job on that as well, really sculpting it out quite beautifully, adding a lot of really nice detail, very fine detail, as well as some gorgeous paintwork on that one as well, with so many different very unique and colorful looking tones of purples and stuff, and really cool kind of metallic shiny type colors, like almost glossy, but it's not really all that glossy. Like, it's hard to explain, but it looks really neat here in hand. So as a whole, all of these are absolutely awesome and huge recommendations from me. So if you would like to pick these up, I will include links in the description to where you can do that on the Etsy shop of Creature Preacher. So make sure you check those links, head on over there, grab yourself some of these models today, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.